The Democratic Socialists of America, or DSA, has emerged as a significant force on the progressive left in American politics. Founded in 1982, the organization has seen a resurgence in recent years, particularly among younger voters disillusioned with the traditional two-party system. As the largest socialist organization in the U.S., it endorses candidates who align with its principles, advocating for policies like universal health care and a Green New Deal. These policies aim to address systemic inequalities and provide a safety net for all citizens, reflecting the DSA's commitment to social justice. The DSA's influence is evident with the election of several members to various offices, challenging the Democratic Party's moderate wing. These victories signal a shift in the political landscape, as more Americans embrace progressive ideals. Their strategy combines electoral politics with grassroots activism, organizing protests and supporting labor strikes. This dual approach aims to build power both within and outside the traditional political system, ensuring that their message reaches a broad audience. A key aspect of their platform is an anti-imperialist foreign policy, often siding with global movements against oppression. This stance is rooted in the belief that true social justice cannot be achieved without addressing international injustices. This perspective shapes their stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, framing it as a struggle for liberation. The DSA views the conflict through a lens of human rights and self-determination, advocating for the rights of Palestinians. The DSA critiques U.S. foreign policy, particularly its support for Israel, which they view as contrary to their principles. They argue that U.S. military aid perpetuates violence and hinders the possibility of a peaceful resolution. Their worldview extends beyond domestic policy, linking social justice at home with global struggles. This interconnected approach emphasizes that issues like economic inequality, racial justice, and environmental sustainability are global in nature. This ideology informs their controversial response to the recent Israel-Hamas ceasefire, sparking debate. The DSA's position has drawn both support and criticism, highlighting the complexities of international politics. For the DSA, justice at home is tied to international self-determination, prioritizing human rights over imperialist structures. They believe that a just world requires solidarity across borders. Their stance on the ceasefire reflects this broader ideological commitment. The DSA continues to push for policies that align with their vision of a more equitable and just world, both domestically and internationally. On October 14, 2025, the Democratic Socialists of America, or DSA, released a statement regarding the Gaza ceasefire that quickly sparked widespread controversy and debate across political circles and activist communities. Rather than celebrating the ceasefire announcement, DSA members and supporters expressed deep skepticism, openly questioning whether Israel was truly committed to a lasting peace, or simply seeking a temporary reprieve. The DSA argues that previous peace agreements have repeatedly failed to address the underlying root causes of the conflict, such as the ongoing occupation, the blockade of Gaza, and the lack of meaningful change for Palestinians. For the DSA, the ceasefire represents only a temporary pause in violence, not a genuine solution, and they urge continued resistance and activism to push for real, transformative change. Their ultimate goal is full Palestinian liberation and self-determination, viewing the current ceasefire as insufficient to achieve a just and lasting peace for all people in the region. The DSA's stance is deeply rooted in a historical analysis of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, framing it as a colonial struggle that requires addressing systemic injustices, not just temporary halts in fighting. The DSA's statement on Gaza is based on a framework labeling Israel's policies as occupation and apartheid. They draw parallels to historical struggles against segregation, like in South Africa. The DSA accuses Israel of regional aggression, broadening their criticism beyond Gaza. This aligns with their anti-imperialist stance, critical of U.S. allies' military actions. Critics note the omission of Hamas's actions, arguing it presents a one-sided narrative. The DSA focuses on state power as the primary aggressor, supporting continued resistance. Zohran Mamdani, a DSA member and NYC mayoral candidate, echoed the DSA's stance on social media. He called for justice beyond the ceasefire, omitting mention of Hamas, drawing criticism. Opponents like Inna Vernikov and Andrew Cuomo criticized his silence on Israeli violence. Mamdani's stance became a contentious issue in the mayoral race, highlighting domestic political consequences. His wife's actions further fueled criticism, linking them to extremist elements. The DSA's statement highlights just how deeply divisive and emotionally charged the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains, not only in the Middle East, but also across the globe. The issue stirs passionate responses from people of all backgrounds, often leading to heated debates and public demonstrations. Their position is rooted in anti-colonial principles, viewing the conflict as a struggle against what they see as oppression by a powerful state. Supporters argue that this perspective is essential for understanding the historical context and ongoing suffering of the Palestinian people. However, critics argue that the DSA's stance fails to acknowledge the violence perpetrated by groups like Hamas, and that it lacks a sense of moral responsibility by not condemning all forms of violence in the conflict. The debate has become a significant wedge issue in American politics, especially within the Democratic Party, where it has sparked intense disagreements and public statements from elected officials. The divide between progressive and moderate wings is stark, with little room for nuanced discussion or compromise, as both sides feel strongly about their positions. Ultimately, the DSA's statement underscores the complexity, intensity, and emotional charge of this global issue, reminding us that solutions remain elusive and the debate is far from settled.